Last night, if you remember, 27 runs combined, 30 hits, 11 home runs. Here today, just 10 runs, 19 hits, 4 home runs. And even though we'll talk about the rallies in the 5th inning and the 8th inning, obviously they were enormous in this win here today. Padres trailed 4-0 going into that bottom of the 5th inning, and essentially they scored 6 unanswered runs, 3 in the 5th and 3 in the 8th. I think you could argue that the story of this game really begins with what Yu Darvish did, because you look at Yu Darvish's outing. It was almost ironic in the 1st inning that after all the home runs hit yesterday, the first batter of the game, Lamont Wade Jr., hits a home run, leadoff home run, and just like that, the Padres are down 1-0. Then Darvish gives up the solo home run in the 2nd to Davis, gives up another solo home run in the 4th inning to Haniger, and then later in the 4th inning, double for Conforto, RBI single for Davis, and just like that, it's 4-0. And really, in the early part of this game, in that 4th inning, I mean, you're probably thinking that it would be tough for Darvish to get through something like 6 innings in this game. But Darvish did a couple of things really, really well. Number one, he didn't walk anybody in this outing. And why was that so important? Because it limited base runners. The 3 home runs were all solo home runs. And in this kind of game, in that environment, after what we saw yesterday in Mexico City, the solo home runs, and it's a point that Jesse and Tony made early in the broadcast, you can manage through those because in all likelihood, the Padres are going to score something. You don't know if it'll be the 16 runs like last night, but they'll score some kind of runs. I mean, you don't know for sure, but you're hoping. It's unlikely with their offense in Mexico City that they won't find a way to score some runs. So walking nobody, keeping traffic for the most part in the early going off the base is really, really, really important. And then he settles in. And this was where it was classic Yu Darvish. Even after giving up the 2 runs in the 4th inning, 1-2-3 5th inning, works around a 2-out single in the 6th inning, strikes out 3 in that 6th inning, 9 strikeouts in 6 innings for Yu Darvish. And he found his way through 6 really good innings in that atmosphere with the way the ball was flying in Mexico City. So, look, it wasn't a perfect outing for Yu Darvish, but all things considered in that environment, I think really, really impressive with what Yu Darvish did, and he kept this team right in the game. Then you talk about the bullpen. Luis Garcia comes in the 7th inning, works around the error by Bogarts, then a hit batsman in the 8th inning, works around that, 2 scoreless innings again in this environment where, any ball in the air has a chance to go for extra bases, get out of the ballpark. Really good work by Luis Garcia. And then what more, could you say about Josh Hader, what he's done? Hader, a 1-2-3 9th inning. He continues to be fantastic. 10 for 10 now in save opportunities. So really from Darvish to Garcia to Hader, the Padres did a really good job on the pitching side of this game. Then in the 5th inning, Padres trailing 4-0. Matt Carpenter, who ends up having a big impact on this game, a leadoff single in the 5th inning against Alex Cobb, who at that point had not only not allowed a run in 4 innings, but had dealt with base runners and had the ability to get out of those situations. Padres had a runner on 3rd base and Nelson Cruz after his triple in the 2nd, 1 out, couldn't get him in. Carpenter and Nola struck out after that. 3rd inning, Padres had runners on 1st and 3rd, nobody out. Manny Machado and Juan Soto due up. Machado strikes out. Soto grounds into an inning-ending double play. So Cobb early on got out of some big-time jams. Then in the 5th inning, the single by Carpenter, credit to Austin Nola, first home run of the year, hit it really hard in the 5th. And just like that, the Padres are right back in the game. It's 4-2, the 2-run home run. Later in that inning, double by Tatis. Soto brings him home with an RBI single. 2 more hits today for Juan Soto. And also had a walk and a run scored in what was a really good at-bat in the 8th inning. We'll get to more on that in a second. A 3-run 5th inning, Padres trailing 4-3. Then the offense goes quiet. No runs in the 6th, no runs in the 7th inning. And then you look at that 8th inning with Tyler Rogers on the mound. Juan Soto, I thought, had a really good plate appearance in that 8th inning. Fouling off some pitches. He just missed a couple of pitches and ultimately does what Juan Soto is really good at doing, and that is taking pitches and having a good eye, and ends up drawing a really critical one-out walk in that eighth inning. Single for Xander Bogaerts. Jake Cronenworth turns around a 101-mile-per-hour fastball from Camilo Doval. A base hit. Soto scores from second base after not getting a great read on it, and the game is tied at 4. And then it's just, it's interesting how this played out in the eighth inning, where yesterday it was so much about the home run ball and the ball just flying. Then Matt Carpenter pops one up into shallow left center field. The wind takes hold of it. Mike Yastrzemski made a great effort on it and nearly came up with it. I mean, it hit his glove on the dive, a full extension dive. Couldn't come up with it cleanly. 2-run score on the play. Ruled a 2 RBI double for Matt Carpenter, and the Padres take a 6-4 lead. So these were two very, very different games in the way they played out, the way the Padres scored their runs here today. A much lower scoring game here today, much better pitched. Both teams not teeing off like they did yesterday, although early with the Giants hitting 3 home runs in the span of 4 innings. You got a little bit of that feel, but really very different games. And credit to the Padres, trailing 4-0 in Mexico City, and then they find a way to score 6 unanswered runs against this Giants team. So again, I thought a really good game and a good couple of wins for the Padres. And I just want to tell you about that Carpenter double, because I think it's worth mentioning. The expected batting average on Carpenter's double, this is how much the wind took it, was .060, the expected batting average. So essentially, the chance it had of being a base hit with the StatCast metrics was 6%. That's how much the wind took it, and Yastrzemski made a really, really good effort on the play, couldn't come up with it, and then again, it was a Hader with the 1-2-3. 9th inning. So the Padres got fortunate with the way that ball went in the air and dropped in, but the Padres will certainly take it. And I'll wrap up with this. Now the question becomes, as the Padres return to Petco Park tomorrow, as Fernando Tatis Jr. makes his debut tomorrow, can the Padres continue this momentum both in general and offensively? The 16 runs, 6 home runs hit yesterday, 17 hits. They had issues with runners in scoring position in this game early, but found ways to cash in later in the game. Can they continue cashing in when they need to with runners in scoring position? Can they continue to hit home runs? We saw Juan Soto drive a ball to left center field last night for a home run, albeit in Mexico City, but still. Can Juan Soto continue to do that and hit the ball hard to left field, left center field? We know that's something he wants to do. We'll see. But now that is the question as the Padres begin a 3-game series against the Cincinnati Reds, who are 12-16, a fairly young team. Now, to me, this is a really interesting series against the Reds, because with the Padres lineup, with what they did in Mexico City, this should be the kind of series the Padres can take 2 of 3 or sweep in a 3-game set. At home, the energy of getting Fernando back at Petco Park. There are no guarantees in baseball. Anybody can beat anybody on any given night. We know that. But I am really interested and hopeful that the Padres getting back over 500, showing their offensive force, can really be a spark for this team.